Imagine this. It's a sweltering September evening in 1957. Deep in the heart of Birmingham, Alabama, a city where the air itself feels heavy with secrets, segregation, and simmering rage. The sun has dipped below the horizon, but the heat lingers like a bad dream. Streetlights flicker on, casting long shadows over cracked sidewalks where black folks hurry home before curfew, eyes down, hearts pounding. This is the Jim Crow South, where a wrong look can get you lynched, where churches double as fortresses, and where one young preacher is about to face a test that could shatter everything he's built. Our story centers on Martin Luther King Jr., not yet the icon etched in stone monuments, but a 28-year-old firebrand fresh off the Montgomery bus boycott victory. For 381 days, he'd led his people in a nonviolent siege against injustice, forcing the city to integrate its buses. Rosa Parks' spark had become ablaze, and Martin was the voice fanning the flames. But victory came at a cost. Death threats poured in like poison rain, letters promising bombs, bullets, midnight visits from hooded ghosts. His home had already been firebombed, the explosion rocking his wife Coretta and infant daughter Yolanda in their sleep. Martin had stood on his porch that night, calming a furious crowd with words of peace, but inside, doubt gnawed at him. Could love really conquer this hatred? Or was he leading his people and himself into a slaughter? Pause for a moment. Feel the weight of that question hanging in the air, like the humidity before a storm. Martin wasn't just fighting laws. He was battling the darkness in every human soul, including his own. And tonight, in a packed auditorium at the 6th Avenue Baptist Church Annex, that darkness is about to come charging out of the shadows. The hall is a pressure cooker. 4,000 souls crammed shoulder to shoulder. Men in starched shirts mopping brows, with handkerchiefs. Women fanning themselves with church bulletins. Children wide-eyed on laps. The scent of fried chicken from shared suppers mingles with the sharp tang of sweat and cheap cologne. Murmurs ripple through the crowd. Dr. King's here to speak on the boycott, but word is the Klan's watching. Guards at the doors scan faces, hands hovering near hidden weapons. Tension coils like a spring ready to snap. Martin steps to the podium, Bible in hand. His voice a smooth baritone that starts low and builds like a gathering wave. Brothers and sisters, he begins, we have won in Montgomery not with guns or fists, but with soul force. We must meet hate with love. Bless those who curse us. Pray for those who despitefully use us. The crowd leans in, amening softly at first, then louder, a chorus of hope rising. Martin's words paint a vision of a beloved community, where black and white walk as equals. Applause swells. For a fleeting moment, the room feels invincible. But wait, something's off. In the third row, a young man shifts uneasily. 22 years old, lanky, eyes darting like trapped animals. His name is James Curry, but no one knows that yet. Schizophrenia whispers horrors in his ear. The government's out to get you. That preacher up there, he's a spy, sent to brainwash you with his words. Curry's hands clench and unclench. His breath quickens. The crowd's energy feeds his paranoia, twisting it into a frenzy. He's not a white supremacist. He's a lost soul, black like everyone else, but fractured inside. And in this powder keg of a room, he's the spark no one sees coming. Martin's speech crests, "Love your enemies." The words echo off the walls. Then chaos erupts. Curry bolts from his seat, vaulting over knees and chairs like a man possessed. Gasps ripple outward. "What's he doing?" Someone whispers. Time slows. Martin's mid-sentence, eyes widening as the figure hurtles toward the stage. Guards lunge, but too late. Curry clears the platform in one wild leap, fist cocked back. The first punch lands with a sickening crack, right on Martin's jaw. The microphone amplifies the thud, broadcasting it to every corner of the hall. Martin staggers, blood blooming on his lip. The crowd surges to its feet, a roar building. "Get him off! Protect the doctor!" But Curry doesn't stop. Another blow to the cheek. Another to the nose, crunching cartilage. 10 punches, 12, 15. Martin's glasses shatter on the floor. The podium topples with a crash. Women scream, clutching children. Men push forward, fury igniting. "Kill the fool," a voice bellows from the back. The air turns electric, violence hanging like a noose. Security finally tackles Curry, pinning him against the stage wall. He's thrashing, spitting curses. "You're controlling my mind. You're the devil." The crowd closes in, hands reaching, ready to tear him apart. This is Birmingham. Remember, where Emmett Till's mutilated body is still fresh in memory, where injustice boils over into rage. One wrong move and this meeting becomes a riot. Blood on the church floor. Hold your breath. Here's the pivot, the moment where history teeters on a knife's edge. Martin, face a mask of blood, pushes himself up on wobbly knees. His suit is torn, his vision blurry without glasses. Pain shoots through his skull like lightning. Inside, a voice whispers, "Fight back. Defend yourself. The crowd's waiting for your signal. They'll handle this." But Martin raises one hand, slow, deliberate. "Stop," he croaks, voice cutting through the din like a bell. The room freezes. 4,000 eyes lock on him. Is he calling for justice? For vengeance? No. Martin straightens, wipes blood from his mouth with a sleeve, and walks, deliberately, painfully, straight toward the pinned attacker. Curry's eyes bulge in terror, expecting retribution. The guards tense, ready to step aside. Martin reaches out and places both hands gently on Curry's trembling shoulders. The touch is soft, almost tender, like a father steadying a frightened child. The hall falls into a silence so profound you could hear a pin drop or a heartbeat racing. Leaning in close, Martin looks into those wild eyes and speaks, words barely above a whisper but carrying the weight of mountains. "Son, I'm not going to hit you back. I love you. God bless you." A gasp sweeps the room. A woman in the front row collapses in a faint. A burly deacon buries his face in his hands, shoulders shaking with sobs. Even the policemen, white officers assigned to keep order, shift uncomfortably, averting their gaze. What just happened? In a land where an eye for an eye is gospel, this preacher has turned the script upside down. Martin turns to the stunned crowd, lips swollen, blood trickling down his chin. "Don't hurt him," he says firmly. "He's not well. He needs help, not hatred. Take him to the hospital. I'll cover the cost." Murmurs erupt into awe. "Did you hear that? He forgave him, just like Jesus." The rage evaporates, replaced by something rarer, wonder. Guards lead Curry away, not to a lynching, but to an ambulance. Martin refuses medical aid until Curry is gone, then lets medics tend his wounds backstage. But the real story unfolds later that night, in the quiet shadows of his Montgomery parsonage miles away. Coretta waits up, pacing the floor, radio crackling with news of the attack. When Martin finally stumbles through the door, face bandaged, eyes distant, she rushes to him. "Martin, what happened? Are you all right?" He sinks into a chair, the adrenaline crashing like waves. For the first time he lets the pain show, not just the physical bruises, but the deeper ache. "I could have died tonight, Coretta. That boy, he was lost, tormented. If I'd fought back, if I'd let the crowd have him, we'd have lost everything. The movement would become just another cycle of violence." She kneels beside him, hand on his knee. "But weren't you angry? Scared?" He pauses, staring into the flickering lamp. A smile creeps across his battered face, small, strange, almost luminous. "I was, terrified. But in that moment, when I touched his shoulders, something broke free inside me. The fear, the hate I didn't even know I carried, it vanished. I felt cured." That night, alone in his study, Martin picks up his pen. Ink flows onto the page. "If I cannot forgive this boy, how can I ask America to change? Tonight I discovered that loving your enemy isn't a strategy. It's surgery on the soul. And tonight, the patient stopped fighting." Word of the incident spreads like wildfire through black communities, then seeps into white newspapers as a curiosity. But for Martin, it's a turning point, a forge where his philosophy is tempered in blood. From here, the threats multiply. FBI wiretaps, more bombs, jail cells that reek of despair. He marches on through fire hoses in Birmingham 63, dogs in Selma 65, each step echoing that September mercy. Yet suspense builds in the shadows. We know what's coming. April 4th, 1968, Memphis. The Lorraine Motel balcony, a sanitation workers' strike drawing him into the fray. As he steps out for air, laughing with friends, a rifle cracks from across the street. The bullet rips through his neck. He crumples, blood pooling. Chaos erupts. Sirens, screams, riots igniting cities. But here's the twist that defies death. When that assassin's hatred sought to end him, it found a man already invincible. The part of Martin that could have hated back, the human frailty, had died on that Birmingham stage 11 years prior. What remained was pure light, a love that absorbed the bullet and kept shining. In the end, James Curry gets treatment, fades into obscurity, perhaps never fully grasping the gift he received. But Martin, his act ripples outward, toppling walls, inspiring laws, echoing in every call for justice today. So as the credits roll on this tale, ask yourself, in a world still fractured, could you place your hands on hatred's shoulders and whisper blessing? Martin did. And because he did, the darkness never fully won. That, my friends, is the suspense of true courage, not in the punch but in the pause that follows, not in the fall but in the rise. Rest in power, Dr. King. Your love still haunts the haters and heals the rest of us.